in this episode we are going to be drafting the pattern for the upper bodice. So first I have my paper here. I divided it into two, so it's measuring my bust. It's my biggest measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. So I cut her out. I measured her out twice and then I cut out my paper like so that's manageable, and I further divided it into two. I also ruled a line at the top that is half inches, and the next thing I am marking my half length measurement, my shoulder to nipple measurement, my shoulder to bust length, and my chest line measurement. I'm marking the same measurements on this other end so that I can get a straight line. So my chest measurement, I'm using 10 inches here. That is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, and then plus 1 inch that I used to slant my shoulder. For this type of dress, I will advise that you take out 1 to 2 inches away from your chest line so that you don't show extra skin on your armhole side. So after ruling out my lines, I am going to use my marker to make sure that they are bold enough for all of us to see. My chest line, my shoulder to nipple line, my shoulder to under bust, and then my shoulder to half length. If you're interested to know my exact measurements, I will leave them in the description box below. So next I am marking my shoulder measurement divided by 2. This is 7.5. I'm marking the same shoulder divided by 2 on my chest line, 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to rule a line to connect both of them together like so. Next, now I am marking my front neckline. So what we have been marking all the while has been the front pattern. So I'm marking 3 inches by 3 inches for the front neck. I connected it into this square, and I'm going to go ahead now and curve using my curved ruler. Next, now I on this shoulder line, I went down by 1 inch. I connected back to the neckline like so, and then from that 1 inch I got the middle and I marked it. Then I came in by half inch. I'm going to connect that back to the shoulder, and then next I will mark quarter of my bust measurement on my chest line. Quarter of my bust measurement is 11 inches, and then I will use my armhole curve now to curve the rest of my armhole. So next, now I am marking my bust span measurement. Starting from my bust point, I am marking 4.5 inches. That is my bust span measurement divided by 2. The actual bust span measurement is 9, divided by 2 is 4.5. So I mark that on my bust point and also on my half length. Next, I am marking 0.75 on both sides of that line. I will connect them back to the bust point like so. After that, I will go ahead now and mark my round measurement. So for my half length round, I am working with 36 inches. So we're going to mark quarter of that, which is 9 inches. But what I'm doing is I am not including the dart in my measurement. So I measure from here to the first dart leg, move my tape over, ignoring the dart completely, and then I continue from the next dart leg until I get to my 9 inches, and then I mark. I'm going to connect that to the bust point like so. Next, now I am going to mark my bust dart. So bust dart here is the difference between my front and my back half length. So in my case, I have 3 inches, and the 3 inches fell exactly on my under bust line. So I connected that back into a slant to the nipple to nipple point. Now I've turned my paper this way. We're going to mark the back first before we continue. So for the back, I am also marking chest line of 10 inches, and then half length for the back, 16.5 inches. That is 3 inches shorter than the front half length. Just like I did the front, I came out to mark it on this other side also, so I can get a straight line. I'm using my pencil now to connect all the points together. And I'll also use my marker to make it bolder. I should have used the pencil only, but I needed to be sure that it's bold enough. So next I am marking half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 inches at the top and also on the chest line, and I'm connecting like so. For the back neckline, I'm marking 3 inches width and then 1 inch depth. I will also connect it like so and then use my curved ruler to curve it. Next, now I came down by 1 inch on the armhole line. I'm going to connect back to the neck width like so, and then measure down, get the middle, come in by half inch, connect back to the shoulder, then mark quarter of my bust measurement, and then use my armhole curve to curve the rest of the armhole. Next, now I am marking the dart 4.5 all the way like so. I will connect into a straight line and then mark 0.75 inches on both sides. You'll notice that there is no zipper allowance for this back piece. That's because there's no zip on this dress. So after marking the dart, we are going back to the front to modify this pattern now into a bustier. So first things first, I'm going to mark the actual neck depth that I will be using, which is 7 inches. So from this starting line, I will mark 7 inches down, and I will connect into a straight line like so. And then on the shoulder, I will divide that measurement into two and then connect it back to the bust point. After which we are going to tighten the over bust. So on that line, I will mark 0.75 on both sides and I'll connect back to the bust point. Next, now we are going to mark the neck width. So I measured to the first dart leg and then I moved my tape to the other side. I marked 5 inches. You're supposed to take out 2 inches from your shoulder width measurement. This is because if you leave it as it is, the straps are going to be falling off your shoulder. So whatever your shoulder measurement is, take out 2 inches and mark it as your neck width. So on this under bust line, you're going to measure the quarter of your under bust measurement. So what I did is measure and leave out the dart point, and then I marked. So whatever I have left there, I am going to place it starting from this outer dart leg and mark it. I had 1 inch, so I marked the 1 inch there. I'm going to use my curve now to make a curve to the bust point like so. After which I will connect from down the bust line down to the waistline. You can connect straight or you can connect in the slant like I did. So next, now it is time to cut. I'm cutting this out so I have room to fold in my bust dart. For the back piece, we are going to leave it at it is. Next, now I slashed the dart open and I'm going to fold this bust dart onto the bust point line like so. Then use my tape, my cello tape or masking tape, to tape it down in this manner. After which you notice that it's no longer equal, the lines on the sides are not equal, so we're going to rule that out so that it covers for the shortage that is there. So now our front and back half length are the same. So we're going to go ahead now and cut out the rest of the upper bodies. I wanted to label it center front and side front, and then it's time to cut. So like I mentioned earlier, for the armhole or the chest line, you need to make it shorter because it might show more skin than you're willing to show, except you don't mind. So instead of 10 inches like I used here, I will use like 8, but I already used 10 inches here, although it's not bad, but I will not use 10 inches next time for a design like this. I'll rather use 9.5 or 8 inches. So this is it for the front. This bust point is pointy, so we're going to curve that out so we don't have pointy bustier after. So after blending that out, I'm going to cut it like so. And then we're going to go ahead now to cut out the back piece. So if you are reducing your chest line for the front, you're going to be doing the same for the back. So I'm adding extra paper to the back. You can do this while cutting on fabric, but I did it here on paper first. I added a paper that's about 5 inches wide. We need extra for the back piece because there's no zipper. We're going to use elastic to make it fit. So the more allowance at the back, the better. We're also not going to take out the dart for the back. So in this part, we are going to go ahead and cut our pattern on fabric and also part the bustier. So here is my center front pattern piece. I cut it on fold. I ironed ST on it, and I also ironed ST on the lining. I added half inches on the top and lower part and also the sides. This is the side front. I added half inch round on both sides. I had 2 pieces for the main fabric, 2 pieces for the lining, and I ironed ST on all 4 pieces. This is the back piece. It's cut on fold, as you can see. I added half inch at the top, half inch at the bottom, and also half inch by the side. I also ironed ST on all the pieces, the main fabric and also the lining piece. Now for the back piece, the neck width, remember for the front we had 5 inches. So for the back piece also, I'm going to, starting from the actual center front, not the extension we added, I'll mark that 5 inches and then notch it. So next now it's time to cut out the breast part. So for this center front piece, we are going to mark the top part, that's the 7-inch point, and then the under bust point. So we'll mark the under bust and also mark the top where the actual 7 inches is, not the extra half-inch allowance we added. So I'm going to transfer these markings to the other parts of the front piece as well. Next now, using my wadding, I am going to place the center front piece on the smooth side of the wadding. So right side of the center front piece on the smooth side of the wadding, like so. Now we're going to trace from this upper 7-inch point all the way to the under bust, like so. We will go ahead and connect the top and cut out. We're going to need 2 of these pieces, one for the main fabric and then another for the lining. Everything, this is going to sit. The part with the glue is going to sit on the wrong side of the center front piece. Next, we're going to place it smooth side to cut another piece for the lining. After that, this is the side front. So starting from the under bust, I'm going to place my under bust measurement on the under bust like so, and then I will locate 8 inches up and mark it, then trace that curve all the way like so, and then from the middle I will mark my bust span measurement, which is 4.5 inches, and then I'll curve to meet the top and also curve to meet the bottom. I went ahead to mark the upper part and the side so that I don't mix them up when I am done. So we need 2 of these pieces. This part I am marking on is the smooth part, the part where the glue is facing down. Then I'm going to place it again smooth side to cut another piece, because we need 2 of these side pieces for the main fabric. We need another 2 for the lining. So after that, this is what we have. We are going to iron them. The iron is going to activate the glue on it, so it will glue to the fabric like so. I'll also trim out any tiny pieces that are hanging out. I'm ironing from the right side because I feel like it glues better when I do this. So I spray a bit of water and then I iron, and I trim off whatever tiny excesses I have. Also, everything I'm doing on this main fabric, I'm going to repeat the same on the lining pieces. Next, we're going to place them right sides together like so, and then we're going to go so starting from the bottom all the way up, making sure you're sewing half inch. You're sewing on half inches. So for me to be sure that I'm sewing on half inches, I tend to mark that out, and I mark on the side that I know will be facing me when I'm sitting on the sewing machine. After which I also pin, I pin before I sew. So after sewing, I'm going to notch the underbust point like so. I'm going to cut it very close to the thread, but I will not cut the thread. I'll do that on both of these sides, and then next it's time to iron. I'm going to open the lower part aside, spray water and iron it apart. And then for the cup side, for the breast side, I'm going to be using this massive ball to iron it. This will help to mold the bust area perfectly. So using the breast ball, I'm going to open it apart again, spray some water and iron smoothly. Whatever we're doing here, we're going to be doing the same thing on the lining. So I'm going to iron it like so. Do the same thing for the other side. After that, we're going to turn it to the right side again and smoothen it up. And the final step will be to add stay on the wrong side so that it keeps the seam allowances in place. So I'm just going to get a strip of stay like so, place it over it and iron. I'll do the same thing on the other cup side, and then do everything that we have been doing on this upper piece on the lining pieces. I'll also go ahead to trim any excesses that is hanging at the top so that everything is smooth and even. We are going to be finishing the upper bodice. This is my front piece, main fabric and lining. First things first, we are going to prepare the straps. My strap pieces here, the length is 45 inches and the width is 3 inches. Now we need 4 of them. So we're going to fold that 3 inches into 2 and sew using half inch. I've already marked my half inches out so that my straps end up at the same width. All my straps end up being the same width. I don't want to guess. I need to be sure that I'm sewing on half inch. So I'm going ahead now to sew. After that, we're going to close one part. So I'm going to sew using half inch on this other side to close it up. And next we're going to turn it out. Now what I do is I will just rub it through my fingers and then locate like a gap in between and push my seam ripper in between like so while pulling. You can use anything, the biro pen, anything that's slim enough to pass through this thing is going to work. After which I will shake it off for the seam ripper to come out, and that's how you turn your loop very fast without a loop turner. So next, now I went ahead to iron all 4 of them, and this is it. Next step is to attach it to the front and the back. So for the front piece, I'm going to measure half inch from the side, and then I'll place the strap exactly on that half inch point. So note that we are placing the part of the strap that is open. I'm also going to do the same thing on this side. I'll measure half inch in and then place the strap on that half inch. Next, we're going to place a lining over it, and then I'm going to pin. I will use hemming gum. I'll pin the 3 pieces together. I'll pin the front, the main fabric and the lining piece, and the hemming gum together. This is going to help with ironing it later. It's going to help it lay flat when we are ironing. So we're going to do the same thing on the armhole side. Pin all of them together and also use hemming gum. After pinning, we are going to go sew these pieces. We're going to go sew using half inch, this neckline and the armhole. We are not sewing the sides, just the neckline and the armhole side. Now for the back piece, remember we notched the neck width point, so we're going to pin from that point inwards. From where the notch is, we're going to pin from there inside. After that, we're going to place the right side of the lining over it. Now we're going to go sew using half inch. For the back piece, I did not add hemming gum because we are going to be creating elastic channels on this back piece, and I don't know how hemming gum is going to work with that. So no hemming gum for the back. I'm going to go sew that. After sewing, we are going to notch this armhole side. For the front piece, we're going to make notches around like so, and also cut the corners. We're going to do the same thing on this other side also, after which we turn it to the right side and we will go and iron. For the back piece, this is what we have. We are going to go iron it also. After ironing, this is what we have. The front piece, it's laying really flat. The hemming gum helped the neckline and the armhole. And then for the back, I went ahead to draw lines. These are ½ inch in width all the way down. So we're going to go sew on those lines like that all the way down. This kind of reminded me of when I started learning how to sew. They would give us exercise book and ask us to follow the lines on the exercise book to sew. The machine will not be threaded. We're supposed to sew on those lines and not miss. It's funny how I still cannot sew a straight line today to save my life. Did you learn how to sew in the same pattern? Like, did you go through something similar? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear it. So after sewing those lines, the first thing we're going to do is measure the width of this front piece. I have 19 inches. We're going to place that aside and then measure the width of this back. I have 30 inches. We'll be needing that measurement later, but this is what we have so far for the back after sewing the lines. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add elastic to it. So what I did is measure an elastic that is 9 inches. So what you should do is take out about 7 to 10 inches from half of your back, half of your round bust measurement. So half of my round bust measurement is 22 inches. So taking out 10 inches from that will make it 12. So I will have like 12 inches of elastic to add to this back, or you can do more. You can do 13 or 14 depending on what you want. I used 9 because I wanted it to be really snatched, so it didn't stretch so much because of that, but it still fit. But that's the rule. Anything between 7 to 10 inches less than half of your bust round measurement. So this is it. I've added the first elastic, so we're going to be leaving one space and adding elastic. So for the next space, I will leave it and add on the third piece. I will do that until I get to the bottom. After that, this is what we have. I also wanted to sew the sides so that the elastics don't go back in. I sewed them so that they stay in one place. Next, now it's time to join the front and the back pieces together. So on the side seam, I matched them like so, taking out the lining, making sure that they match at the armhole point. I'm going to go ahead and pin. Remember that the seam allowances we left for the sides were only ½ inch, so we're going to be sewing on only ½ inch. So I'm turning the lining over like so, such that we are sandwiching the back piece in between the front main fabric and lining. After that, this is what the upper bodice is looking like. I went ahead to tie the straps so that they get out of my way. So we are going to be cutting the 180 degrees flare and finishing up the dress. So first we are going to do some calculations. The front round we got was 19 inches and the back round was 30 inches. So we're going to add this together to get our full round measurement. 30 plus 19, that is 49 inches. Now we're going to divide this 49 inches by 3.14 to get the radius, and that gave us 15.6 inches. So this 15.6 inches now is going to work. It's going to be our radius. Now to get the length of the flay, we are going to subtract our half length from our full length measurement. So my full length is 59 inches. I'm going to minus 19.5 inches, which is my half length from it. And we are going to have 39.5 inches left. Now this is going to be our length, but to get the actual fabric we are going to put on fold, we are going to add this length to the radius to get the amount of fabric that we'll be needing to fold for this flip part. So 39.5 plus 15.6 is going to give us 55.1 inches. So that is how much fabric we're going to put on fold. We're going to add extra for seam allowances, and then depending on how full or how high your shoes are, I added extra 4 inches to this, which is what I used to put my fabric on fold. So let's assume that this is our fabric here that we are working with. This is the salvage side, that's the factory edge. We're going to measure, for me, 59 inches and then 59 inches again and fold into two. So let's assume this is 59 inches here now on fold. We're going to fold again in form of a triangle like so. And after doing the second fold, you notice that we have less than the first time. So what we're going to do next now is to mark the radius, which is the 15.6 inches in this fashion. We're going to place our tape at the edge like this and cut. And then next, still placing the tape at the edge, we are going to mark the length, which is the 55.1 plus extra. So for me, I'm marking 59 inches. So let's assume this is 59 inches I am marking here. Now we're going to mark it all around. I'm showing you this because my camera will not be able to capture my fabric fully to show you this properly. So I'm using this paper to demonstrate. So after marking the radius and the length, we are going to cut out. So you notice that the upper part of this flare now is shorter, so we're going to use fabric to replace that point. So after cutting that out, we'll get a piece of fabric and then sew it together. We'll sew it by ½ inch and iron it apart. Let us assume that this is our fabric now that we are cutting. So we're going to place it on the part that is shorting. So assuming this fabric, we are sewing it right sides together using like ½ inch. I'm just using my tape to hold it so that you can see clearly. Same thing on this side also. So depending on how you fold, this may not always come on both sides like this. It can be the folded part that will have the shortage. So whichever way, you are supposed to replace that part with another piece of fabric so that all angles are equal. So after joining this, you'll iron it apart and then fold it back into how it was before, but with the other side up, so that you will use that side now to trace out your shape, and now your flare is the same length all round. So if you want to add pockets to this, like for our type of dress, you're going to open it up into half. So this other part, you also open this other part up for you to be able to add the pocket. Don't worry about the seam allowances. There's already seam allowances on the bodies when we measured, so it's already covered in this ½ inch on both sides. So this is me now doing the same thing on fabric. You can see that my camera is not really showing, but with the demonstration we did earlier, I'm sure you will get what I am doing here.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come, We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. Lion's gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah. Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. Lion's gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for.
So after everything, this is what we have, and this is the part that was joined. As you can see, the seam line. So we can go ahead now and open this side to add the pockets, but I changed my mind. I decided to add only one pocket to the part that is already open. We're going to hem the lower part also after now. So for the pocket, I am folding this fabric into two. I have a detailed tutorial on how to sew this inseam pocket. I'm going to link it on the screen so you go and watch. I'm using my hand here now to trace out the shape of the pocket. Check out that video for a more detailed illustration. So I'm going ahead now to cut this piece because on fold is going to give me two pieces. I'm adding only one pocket like I mentioned. Next, now on the flay piece, we are going to measure 1 inch down, and then from that 1 inch I will leave 7 inches, and we are going to go sew, stop at that 1 inch, leave that 7 inches open, and then keep sewing. We are sewing on 1 inch. After that, I went ahead to attach the pocket, and this is what we have. Like I said, I will link that video in the description so you go check it out. Next, I am notching the middle, and also I folded into 4 to notch those corners also. This is to attach to the upper part. Now this is the upper part, right sides out. I'm going to put it into this piece such that it's now right sides together. I will match this side to this side. Now the way I'm matching it, my pocket will end up being on the left. So if you want your pocket to be on the right hand side, this is the time to make sure of that. So the other notch is going to be on this other side, and then the two other notches will be at the center back and also the center front. This is just to make sure that everything is even. So for the back, when sewing, we are going to pull the elastic so that it stretches out completely before sewing. And we're going to go sew whatever excess we have. I will just gather it in, but for the back I make sure I pull while I sew. And after that, this beautiful dress is ready. This is what the finished dress is looking like. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this series. Please leave a comment for me in the comment section below, and I will see you in my next one. Also like and share.